doing good. How you doing?
Fantastic.
Fantastic.
I hope you have a good day.
Hope you have a better week.
I hope your month is full of successful days and a lot of great ventures. I hope you just come up, brother.
I hope your whole fucking year is spectacular.
Oh, you hope my year is spectacular?
Yeah.
You got something you want to say to me?
You got something you want to say?
For next episode of One Gotta Stay's One Geek Tournament. And it's going to be a wild one. The March Madness tournament just finished their road to the Final Four. Roads.
Well, we're going, we don't need roads.
I'm telling you, you come back. Make sure you give us a huge thumbs up before it's too late. Let us know you're going to be back. You're going to be glad that you did because you're going to be dodging some major bullets if you watch live. Oh, wow. Don't. You're going to be feeling like you're in a different time, looking at everybody like, what is going on? But when you do, one of two things are going to happen. You're either going to hear people agree and saying together, strong, or you're going to hear people disagree and they're going to be ready to fight, full mech suit, and yelling, get your hands off of my pick.
Get away from her, you.
You think you know who the
Nicely done, sir. Nicely done.
Leave a comment. What up, family? It's your boy Amaru, and it's Wednesday. This is weird, but that's what happens when you go on vacation and decide mental health is better than just putting a show on. But I'm back. We're back. We are here with the next round of the One Geek tournament for One Gotta Stay, the show where I give you 4 to 6 really impossible options to choose from and tell you you can only pick one. As I said, we're in the third round. We already went through the Star Wars bracket last week. Went through the Marvel bracket where with the characters we had, Wolverine and Spidey beat out the likes of Black Panther, Magneto, Iron Man, and Cap. Yes, if you remember, I did have Black Panther number 4. My black card is still slightly trying to figure out whether it's still there or not. But hey, we're on to the next one where we're going into the wild cards. Sci-Fi geek characters, where today my panel is going to be choosing between these 6 amazing characters, Ripley, Caesar, Marty, Doc Brown, the T-800, and I mean all the T-800s, any variation of that, and Neo. And again, we only get to choose one to keep. At the end, we're going to see which 2 move on in the tournament. But enough about that, and let's move on to the man who looks just unbothered. As always, Frankie Numbers. Frankie.
Hello.
First time on the show. Long time listener. I know for sure. How you doing, Frankie?
I'm doing good. I just happened to stumble across a random link. I clicked on it. Thank God it wasn't. Anyway, so I'm glad to be here, and I'm looking forward to seeing how this all goes.
It's gonna be fun. Behind the scenes, I know everybody's list, and it's going to be fun. Paige for Betty, another illustrious member of the Schmodown community, Movie Trivia Schmodown. We do this. If you don't know, go find it out. But Paige, the Boston Badass, going to be going against one Mike Kalinowski this Friday. Let's see how that goes. But now you're going against us for One Gotta Stay. How are you feeling? You are back. Ooh, I just realized you were on the same episode as somebody else last time.
I was. That's why it's so nice to be here with that lovely lady. But no, I'm happy. I got some spicy takes, I think. But we're all gonna battle out tonight, so I guess we'll see how it goes. But I'll get justice for you, Rue. Don't you worry.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Below Paige, it's the boss, not that boss. But the boss of Bitesize, the man who started this all, I jumped on right after. Nick, Mr. Bitesize Breakdown himself. Good to have you actually on screen and not just telling me what to do in the background. He doesn't.
I like it. I like that I've taken Bateman's nickname. Like it's mine now.
Well, there you go.
To earn it back.
Huh. Yeah, Ben, you have to earn that back. But how you feeling? You've been on once. With some of these characters, it's good to have you back. How you feeling for
I was looking forward to it, coming a little bit more prepared than last time. Anyone who knows me knows why I'm here this episode. So it should be a fun time. And thank you guys for all coming here. Now being hosted on the Bitesize Breakdown channel. So thank you guys as well.
All right. Next to him is aforementioned, also on the episode page last time, with a certain character as well.
Yes.
Know the show, you know what's happening. Janine, the Machine, Miss Bryce herself. Janine, how are you doing? So lovely to have you back. How you feel about this what's coming up?
I'm excited to be back. I had such a blast the last time. I'm really curious to see what everyone's thinking. Sci-fi, I love my Terminator over there. So we'll see where he lands on this list.
All right. It's a very true. A lot of lovely people. But the last of the lovely people, the Coyote himself, now a part of Swag, Drip Drip, Mr. Adam Collins. So very happy to have you on here. If you've seen his takes on one Taylor Robinson's bracket that she had a while ago, we're getting some takes today. Adam, how you feeling?
Yeah, burn some bridges with that. But I'm excited to debut on One Gotta Stay. You're all wrong. Preemptively, just want to get the vitriol out of the gate. You're all terrible people as well. But I'm thrilled to see you all.
At least I don't have to find that out at the end. That's nice to know up front.
Yeah.
Just right away. That's always nice.
He speaks the truth. I guess it's okay.
Janine and Paige are okay. The rest of you.
Thank you.
But yeah, no, I have passionate feelings about many of these fictional characters, and can't wait to get into it.
Wait, they're not real people?
No.
No.
But
sorry, I got a little ahead of myself there for Betty. Apologies.
Okay. And now you're going to tell me Santa isn't real either. But okay.
Yeah, no, sorry. We have a lot of conversations we have to have, Paige, but that'll be, I told you we have to talk offline on that. But with that, let's get into these characters. Janine, you're going to start us off. Janine,
let's see if you got any hot takes.
You're number 4. Who do you have as number 4? We'll get to your 5 and 6 later.
Okay.
But you're number 4. Who's out almost first?
My number 4 is Doc Brown.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Great character, fun, quirky, smart. I don't think the events would have been set in motion without him. Like, you don't have a movie without Doc Brown. But there were just some other characters that I felt like I didn't want to lose quite as soon. So, yeah, Doc Brown, number 4.
Dude, hot take. Man created pretty much time travel.
Christopher Lloyd is the man in everything.
He is. He's great.
No, this is Doc Brown. This ain't Christopher Lloyd. Don't you do that.
But Doc Brown ain't Doc Brown without Christopher Lloyd. It doesn't matter. He makes the character.
Dude, the DeLorean. What? How can you get rid of that?
Okay. Well, this is. We'll see how this goes continuously. Does anybody else have Doc Brown as their number 4?
Nope.
Wow.
No.
No, nobody does. Again, we'll wait. So since you don't, Adam, take it away for the next one. Where are you going for your number 4, sir?
Well, after Janine's act of heresy, she was so polite. She's like, Doc Brown's number 4, and everyone's like, what the hell?
Sorry, guys. Sorry.
No. So, my number 4 is one Thomas Anderson, aka Neo. So the reason I have him at number 4 is, I think a lot of us would agree that the first Matrix, in many ways, is a modern classic. It reinvented a lot of things, not only about the genre, but about the art of filmmaking. And it definitely is influenced by other movies. I understand the comparisons to Dark City, Existenz, other things. But at the same time, it's also telling its own story. It's a film that's aged very gracefully. And the sequels notwithstanding, even though I'm fond of a lot of the sequels on varying levels, I think the legacy of Neo as a character may not go as far as some of the other characters on this list, which is why I don't have him ranked higher. But I do think he earns his place in the top 4 because of the staying power of that original film. The fact that, even though they came out to mixed reviews, we keep a lot of us hardcore fans of not only the genre but the series keep coming back for these sequels. I think Resurrections did a lot of interesting stuff, even though it wasn't perfect. I would not hate to see another Matrix movie someday, and that's due in large part to Neo. So,
well, Collins, can you tell me what the actual fuck goes on in those movies? Because I couldn't. I'm still baffled.
The architect explains it perfectly in The Matrix Reloaded.
Vis-a-vis
concordantly.
The entire time. And then it got boiled down to just Neo doing this the entirety of
that's what held
I
me
relate
back with
to
Resurrections.
that. I gotta tell you,
if they'd stepped up the choreography in the fourth movie, it would have been a whole higher star in my rating. Honestly, the choreography was rough, but that's my pitch.
Ergo vis-a-vis. That's right.
Exactly.
And if the architect were on this list, he'd be number one by default.
Oh Lord.
Of course.
But y'all coming for me with Doc Brown. Okay.
Played by the great Helmut Bakaitis.
Yes.
I don't even know what's going on in those Matrix movies, so there's that. That's my standpoint.
Well, Paige, did you or anybody else have Neo number 4, or are we moving on? No, nobody else did.
But no, I did not.
We are moving on. These lists are going to be fairly different for a bit, so let's just continue on. Mr. Van Dinter, Nick, who do you have as your number 4?
I have, in all his many variations, the T-800.
Okay.
It is. I think it's similar to what Collins was saying about the Matrix series. They differ. Some are great. T2, the original Terminator. Some are there. And then there's the other ones that are kind of middling. Like, there are things I really enjoy about Dark Fate. I know that can be a controversial opinion with people, but the character all the way through, with all the different timeline and breakoffs that they've done, it's an entertaining character. It definitely has a legacy, but it doesn't have the it doesn't nail it every time, which is why I have it in number 4 on my list.
Can I ask you a question, Nick?
Yes.
What the fuck are you smoking? Because, dude, robots, even though some of those movies are not great, it's a badass character. Just saying.
Although, it's a pretty, on a technological level, kind of a flawed character, or a flawed robot, if you will.
But it's an evolving character. It's different.
Exactly. That's all nice and fine. But that's just AI. That's not the actual T-800. That's just the AI.
It's not like if we put Johnny 5 on the list. Then there'd be a higher ranked robot, I think, probably.
Everybody gets a new iPhone every couple of years.
Mind you, T-800 isn't even the best model. So come on.
I'm biting my tongue right now.
How's it taste?
Ooh, that's a good one. I'm gonna use
it
that.
tastes like a Newman's Own Supreme Frozen Pizza.
There you go. Numbers, you got a lot to say.
I'm just saying, like, all right, cool. T-800, like, he wears skin.
Frank is not impressed.
He wears skin.
Sorry, man, you wear skin.
He's
Cool,
run
but
off
you
an
cool.
algorithm. Like, okay, sure.
Who did you have as your number 4 then, Frankie?
My number 4.
Bring it on.
And I'm a big fan of this franchise, but I had to put number 4, Marty McFly. That's right. Number 4, Marty McFly. Look, he's a cool kid. Knows how to skateboard. I wish I knew how to skateboard. The guy he's very he can act quick in a moment, you know? He can get out of a jam real quick. Like this one time, he's getting chased by like these 4 dudes, and he got away. And actually, you know, those guys got injured, not him. So I think he's pretty resourceful. He's someone I would call a friend. He's also a musician. Come on, like.
A guy who runs away from a fight, that's cooler than a cyborg. Okay.
There's also growth. There's also growth, Janine. Remember, but you know he has a problem being called chicken, and then by the end of the series, it's like, no, I'm good, dude. I'm good. You go ahead.
He also gets over being called yellow too.
That as well.
But he
After
also
explaining, it's the same thing.
His mom also almost tries to make out with him too. So
it's high school. What are you gonna do?
I guess.
He's a charming young man.
Know.
He's a charming young man. Yeah.
I mean, Calvin Klein, man.
Is he though? Because
No,
he had to
he's not
actually
that
see
charming.
the future or hear about the future that was happening for him to be able to like actually change. He's my number
Yeah,
4
he
as
needed
well.
a lot of help.
He got a lot of help. Marty's my number 4 as well. I was just looking at him and like, he's not as great as everybody like makes him out
like
to be.
people think like people think I'm talking about him like I'm putting him number 1. No, I put him number 4. I'm just saying why I put him number 4, and those are all number 4 reasons.
Okay.
He's like he's not the absolute like blandest or most like whatever character on this list, but he ain't up there. There's a lot. I'm just like Marty kind of just he's whatever.
Marty's along for the
All
ride.
right. He's
but,
not
like,
just whatever. Okay, come on.
He's
What is
inconspicuous.
this kind of talk? All right, I got things to say, but I don't want to mess up the order on my list.
I know.
Yep,
Right.
same.
Okay. Look,
I
fine.
feel you.
Fine. Well, not slander to the movie, but
No.
but
No,
Marty
no,
is
no.
look. We had to pick, and Marty had to just be number 4. Look, I don't like the fact that he had to see his future or learn about it to change. He's a little bit too stubborn and big-headed for my own liking compared to other characters. There's a lot of things he needed to fix that took a lot for him to fix. So for me, Marty had to be number 4. There's definitely people on this list that are way better in my opinion. Besides me and Frankie, did anybody else have Marty as their number 4?
Hell no.
No, because I'm the only person that hasn't gone, you silly goose.
You are the only person that hasn't gone. And there's people left on this list. Which one of the 2 did you choose? Which one had to go number 4 for you, Paige?
For me, honestly, so when I made this list, I tried to
Okay.
go with like pop culture.
Here we
Like
go.
who stands out to me kind of, and who had the most effect in their films, but also like in the genre of sci-fi. So for me, I had to go with that man, Caesar. Blue eyes. Is he blue eyes or is he green eyes? Thank God I'm not an IG. But Caesar,
He's not a
he's
man
cool
either.
dude. What'd you say?
He's not a man either, technically.
Yeah, he's not. But I mean, he's a smart. I almost said he's a smart man. He's a smart ape. But when I thought
He's a
about,
great
like,
human being. Yeah.
he's great. He's great. And I mean, honestly, for me though, when it came to like all the Planet of the Apes films, the 3 that stand out to me the most are obviously the most like frequent ones that we received, and he's like that character, and the growth within there is like so cool and kind of powerful to see that. But at the same time, I'm like, with this list, I think we got some more people that are in that pop culture that just like stick out more. Caesar's a cool dude, but I wouldn't rock him on my shirt like I would Ghostface.
What? Never mind. Okay.
Sure. I
would
guess.
I'm now curious, do you have a Caesar shirt?
Caesar's
I
great, but
wish.
he's not an amorphous killer. You know, like,
Yeah.
he's just
Right.
He's a nice dude. He's nice.
I hope he's watching, actually.
I
gonna
wonder what
ruin
he
his
would do
night.
with this list. Maybe ruin that night. But with that, we've gotten rid of one of our characters each. So me and Frankie got rid of Marty, number 4. Janine has Doc gone. There's some Back to the Future haters here, apparently. Paige got rid of Caesar. Adam got rid of Neo. And Nick got rid of all the variations of the T-800. So with that, going from number 4s down to the number 3s, Janine, keep it going. Keep it going. Your number 3. Just going to pile this on, right?
My number 3 is actually Caesar.
Okay.
Not that
Caesar.
far off.
Okay.
Caesar is a civil rights warrior. Okay,
That's
he cares about his family. He cares about his fellow apes. He, became smart and used that smart to liberate the apes. He could have used those smarts for all kinds of other things, but he used it for freedom. So
Yeah, you said that way better than I did. I just made him sound like a chump.
that's why he's up there. He's up there. My number 3, Caesar.
Does anybody else have Caesar at number 3?
I do indeed.
I got Caesar at 3 as well.
As do I. There's a lot of us that
No.
have number 3. Why do y'all have Caesar at number 3? Why is he better than Marty?
Caesar is a leader. I will follow Caesar. Like, Caesar's a smart dude. He's just a really great character. I really love that character in the trilogy.
Marty can't even get to class on time.
Right.
Four times in a row. 4 times in a row.
I mean, yeah, what are you gonna do? But I think like just watching Caesar's like evolution through like that trilogy, and even like I think even just like after that first movie, I was like, man, this is a really cool character and a great take on it, and like his is like kind of what Genius said, a civil rights like activist in a lot of ways for his fellow ape. And he's not looking to, take over the world or like he just want their plot of land and just be like, just leave us alone, like let us chill. And he's doing everything that's necessary to protect his family, his fellow apes. So
not running away from a fight like Marty McFly.
Yeah, that's true, and it's so true.
Janine, someone's fixated.
Right.
What do you got against Martin?
I think I'm giving away where Martin is. So
Oh God, Nick, why do you also have Caesar as your number 3?
I think Frankie said it great. His leadership, the arc of Caesar in the more recent trilogy, from beginning to end, it's great. You get him from birth, and you get to see him side with kind of the Kova mindset of that could have taken him over and he could have become more of a savage, but he gets to see, humans aren't always the bad thing. We can coexist. There are ways that we can work together. And every obstacle he faces, it's not that he's flawless from beginning to end. He makes mistakes, but by the end of it, I mean, he's someone you're a character you're proud of. Like you can't finish the Apes trilogy and not be rooting for Caesar. From beginning to end, and I don't know how spoilery we want to get to, but specifically the end of his arc. It's just, like Frankie said, he's about family. There's so much humanity in a non-human character by the end. I think 3 is a great spot for him.
First of all,
message.
Malcolm's comment there, I would put Ghostface over Caesar. What?
All right. Well, that's a can of worms.
I mean, what? Caesar's at least he's not a killer, but
well, it depends on how you look at it. Look, all right, here's my thing with Caesar. Here's why I have Caesar at number 3, and I'm actually looking at it more of the positive light instead of negative light. When I put the poll up and Caesar actually got on the top 6, I was very surprised. I didn't think he'd be anywhere near here, and I just started thinking about it. That man is because I call everybody. That man is.
It's hard not to call him man.
He is a beast of an ape. He is intelligent. He can be ruthless when need be, merciful when need be. And this is more of the fact that basically when the list got created, my top 2 were locked. I knew my top 2, and who is next in line? And he's the one that actually switched stuff up for me. I did not expect to have him on the list at all because I didn't think he'd be here. And then just thinking about how. One, I'm bringing up the actor again because I can. Andy Serkis just brings all that out of him, and he's absolutely amazing in it. But the character itself, and even the character in the original ones. I know we're talking about Andy Serkis' versions, but in Conquest and Battle, that same writing and through line of intelligence and strength and leadership. Again, he probably would be top tier leader to follow ever. Period. And that is why he's my number 3, which is a de facto number 1, because 1 and 2 again are just they're there. So I agree with a lot of these sentiments. Caesar is a bad man, bad ape, however you want to call it.
No, he's a good ape.
Yeah, Steve Zahn is bad ape. Come on.
Correct.
Good.
Correct. The 2-point steal over to Nick. That's fine. Paige, we're gonna go over to you now. Who's your number 3 and why are you wrong?
So screw you. I know people probably think I put Caesar. I thought was good at number 4. He's
it could be better, right? It could be better.
I mean, I guess, but he wasn't on mine. So for me, I gotta go with Mr. Doc Brown.
Why are you
Oh
wrong?
my god! What?
Why are you wrong?
What?
Dude, why are you guys judging me so hard? God damn!
Is that part of the show? I don't.
This
For
might
me, though,
go to me as well, but okay.
Yeah, he is the heart and soul though of Back to I almost said back. I almost said like combined Back to the Future and Fast and Furious together. That would have been weird. He is the heart and soul, though, I think, of Back to the Future. Like, really, those movies would not have been created if it wasn't for his time travel and his dope ass vehicle. But for me, I don't know. Like, I was thinking of like characters like I look up to and admire, and I mean, he's got a cool dog, and he's really good at science. But I mean, I suck at science, so that really wasn't my cup of tea.
You know who else sucks at science?
It's science. Nothing here sounds bad.
Doc Brown actually sucks at science. I'm here to tell you. He actually sucks at science. He got lucky. He hit his head.
Bathroom on that train for his kid.
Yeah, I mean, exactly. Exactly. He got lucky. I mean, he's a cool dude, though. He's got some crazy hair, though, that he's got to work on. But other than that, he'll get there. At the end, he got a train that goes to the future. Pretty cool. Well, to the past, I don't know. But
that's not even tech he invented. He had to go to the future for someone else to pimp out his ride. He didn't even do that himself.
I don't know if
Frank
Frank
attacked by like the Russians, and he didn't get away with it because technically, yeah. But yeah.
I don't know if Frank loves or is annoyed with this franchise right now. It's like Doc Brown at 3. He's so cool. Why do you have to go to the future to get his technology? What a loser.
Yeah.
That's about right. Yeah, that's about right.
Does anybody agree with Paige having Doc Brown as their number 3?
Go on, Adam.
No,
I don't. I don't have him at number 3.
Not number 3. So who do you have at number 3? Who do you have at number 3? We all want to hear this.
Okay. All right.
Oh no! Don't do it. Don't do
it. So my number 3, and you got to hear me out on this. All right.
I'm nervous.
Miss Ellen Ripley.
What?
Leave. Get this man
Leave. Okay. All right.
Get this man off the screen.
Yeah.
What is
all right.
going on?
All right. We're gonna talk this out, guys. We're gonna talk this out.
President of the He-Man Woman Haters Club.
All right. That's a little extreme. All right. So here's my take. Here's my take. Okay. All right. All right. So Ellen Ripley's legacy is undisputable. And I think the thing that's really special about it is her performance in the first 2 movies. I think those are the films that hold up impeccably. Obviously, the Oscar nomination for a genre film is very, very special. Great way to recognize, not only her talent, but the legacy of that character. The issue for me is post Aliens. I think there was a lot of effort to recapture the organic, growth of Ellen Ripley in those first 2 movies. Mm-hmm. And I think David Fincher's Alien 3 is honestly a little overhated. It's clunky, got some bad effects, but I do like that it at least makes the attempt to close out her arc in a meaningful way. And I think that it mostly works on a thematic level, even though it pales in comparison to those first 2 movies. I think by the time we get to Alien Resurrection, we're tarnishing the legacy of the character a bit, which is why that's why the staying power for me of Ellen Ripley is a little truncated. I think her legacy in pop culture is what's undisputed. I think narratively, she peaked with Aliens, and that's why I have a couple characters ranked higher than her. But seeing her at number 1 at the end of this list tonight, if she averages out to be number 1, I will not be upset. I just have my reasons, folks. I have my reasons, but she is.
Yeah. I was all ready to argue with you, and then you had to be all nuanced and shit.
I know, right? Like, what the hell?
I'm not.
Okay.
She's a badass in Resurrections. What are you talking about?
All right, I like Alien Resurrection is fun, but it's like it's almost like an anthology chapter of an alien story. I don't see it. I don't think it quite squares up with her arc in those first 3 movies. So anyway, I'm willing to sit back and let her be ranked higher than 3, but I'll get to my 1 and 2 later. I have my reasons.
Oh, we all have
reasons.
I have reasons.
We do. So you know what? We're gonna get to those reasons very shortly because that was everybody's 3s. A quick recap of what we're left with. We each have 4 characters left. 2 of them are in our bottom 2. 2 of them in our top 2. I have gotten rid of Marty McFly and Caesar, as has Frankie Numbers. Janine has gotten rid of Doc Brown and Caesar. Paige also has Doc Brown and Caesar gone. Adam got rid of Neo and Ripley somehow. Nick has gotten rid of Caesar, and the only one so far to get rid of the T-800. But you know what? Let's see who everybody hated. Why they just didn't like them at all. So here comes the bottom 2.
Can I just go somewhere for a minute?
For me,
okay,
my bottom 2 is the T-800 and Neo. I just felt like there was nothing. They didn't bring much compared to the 2 of them. Yes.
Whoa,
Neo.
whoa.
T-800 Neo was all the way down there. That's how I felt. I'm sorry.
At 6?
Yes, it's
So the T-800 was at 6?
No, at 5.
Okay.
At 5, Neo is 6. Janine has Neo at 5 and Marty at 6. You heard her before. Pretty obvious. She did not like Marty.
Wow.
Apparently
Sounds like
neither
the
did
she-woman, he-woman haters club over here.
Neither did Paige.
She-Ra.
Neo's not.
Don't worry,
God,
we're
must
on
be
the same wavelength.
Wow. Okay. Okay.
Marty doesn't do shit besides get late to class and almost make out with his mom.
Yes. Ooh,
And then Neo just wears cool sunglasses and pops pills.
That's an oversimplification, but
this is unreal.
Oh, Frankie, the one not liking this so far, has the T-800 and Doc Brown at 6.
Frank.
That's right.
Friendship
What
done.
are you guys doing with these T-800s?
It didn't say Janine the Machine. It said a T-800, all right? So
She's one of them.
You really giving me shit about Doc Brown? Like what?
No, I was on your side about Doc Brown.
I was legit.
I wasn't like you were. You had him at 4. You had him at 4, Janine, and I didn't want him in the top 4.
Oh, okay.
All right.
He belongs at number 6. The man's a fraud.
Okay then. Okay.
He just lives off his family's money, and then blew it all away to barely make a time machine. Like he made only 1. Come on.
Yeah.
How many time machines do you have, Frank, that you made?
I'm not telling you.
All right then.
Adam with all that vitriol for Ellen also has Doc pretty low.
Caesar?
Oh
Caesar no!
I got reasons.
Yikes.
He's got reasons.
Now.
And Nick, are you still here?
Unfortunately.
You sure you're still here?
Oh, he did not do it.
Ripley is number 6.
Oh my god.
Whoa.
Oh my god. Oh my god.
And Neo is 5. That's how he feels. I don't know why.
That Marty McFly instinct to run away was correct, Nick. Stuck with that energy.
Damn.
Yeah. Absolutely crazy. Hey, Allison, how are you? But with that, we're gonna get straight into it. Gloves are coming off. Here are the numbers for who everybody chose to keep. 2 people kept Marty. 2 people kept Ripley. 1 person kept the T-800. And to the absolute surprise of myself when I got this list, somebody kept Neo. You saw where he was.
Pound sand.
Frankie, why? Why did you save Neo? Paige has the T-800. Adam and Nick have Marty, and me and Janine are the only ones who are not a part of the Women Haters Club. Because Ripley is an absolute badass, 100% all the way.
I didn't say she wasn't.
She was my number 2.
But Ripley can't fly, man. Ripley can't fly.
I am really. You were the last list to come in, and you just blew my mind, Frankie. I want to hear this. Where is Neo coming in at number 1 for you? I don't understand.
Please.
He just likes the sunglasses. That's got to be it.
Look, I secretly wish we were all in a simulation. And if that was the case, I would want to be Neo. You could just do whatever the fuck you wanted to do.
So you're good with the cheat code. That's what it is.
Hell yeah, I want the cheat codes. I want the cheat codes. Give me all the cheat codes. And I I just really like the character. I mean, especially, coming off that first movie, I think the guy who's just very reluctant to be thrust into this one position, right? Doesn't think it's him. It's not him. He doesn't really want it to be him. But then, he begins to believe within himself. He believes within himself. And then guess what he does? What does he do?
He's literally just following rules on a How to Be Cool book. Like,
yeah, but he flies.
Step 1, get the popular girl.
He has so many guns.
Number 2, become best friends with a black guy.
Also, he's basically doing this all for love, and that's a really admirable characteristic. Did all for love. It's all for love. The world needs love, even a simulated one.
The power of love. Yeah.
I'm sorry, Morpheus is a more interesting character by far. I was hoping you'd on this list to me. Honestly,
where's ET on this list? Is all I'm saying.
It's not.
He's not. That movie is overrated as hell. I'm sorry. I don't like that movie.
I'm gonna leave now.
That's not about ET before y'all kill me on that one. Look.
To say it overrated?
Yes, the movie's overrated.
Oh my lord.
It's whatever. That's a conversation for another day. I knew off top that Doc Brown was my number 2, and I knew off top that Ripley was my number 1. The arcs in Alien 1 and 2, to turn from that to the complete badass in Resurrections, and then the to sacrifice herself in 3. Look, from front to back, no matter what you want to say about the movies, her as a character, and then going completely 180 and just becoming the most just wickedly, hilariously just savage Ellen 8, Ripley 8 in Resurrections. She's absolutely amazing. Absolutely amazing.
Have everyone against her, and she still rises up to do her thing. Like people, minimizing her, calling her kid, and all these men just like not wanting to listen to her, and she still is just like, "Fuck you! I'm gonna do my thing, and I'm gonna be a badass." Like,
save the cat,
just like Neo,
and save the cat. Exactly. No, she would have been. She was my number 2. It was very hard for me.
Ripley was my 2.
Badass chick, and I mean, she really. I feel like changed a lot of young women's lives and watching cinema and wow, that's a badass chick. Maybe one day I can be like that. I mean, maybe not that badass. I don't know how well I do in space, but dude, T-800 guys, come on, robots, 1984. All I
gotta do is get an EMP and then it's toast. I
was gonna say, you're talking about Ripley is doing all this.
You're talking about some Doc Brown technology.
Look, if we learned anything,
what are the T-800 and Marty doing for anybody? What are they doing for anybody? Come on,
dude.
T-800 made that first movie a really cool horror film. He made that second movie a badass action film. He made every film after that a comedy.
Okay, yeah. I mean, yeah, I forget all the other ones. I mean, yeah, the first 2, amazing. Other ones, but I was just thinking in my head, pop culture, this character, changed sci-fi, made it so badass. I mean, I almost called him half human, but he's got really nice skin for a robot. Come on.
Okay, Paige.
He moisturizes his living tissue over his
I guess so. He's gonna share those.
He did age very well. He did age very well. Adam and Nick. Nick, I knew where you were going. I just didn't know which one of the 2 you were choosing.
I was
you have Marty. Yeah, you have Doc number 2. Why did you 2 have Marty as your number 1? And why are you chickens?
Nick, you first.
When you look at this list, you look at people like Neo and Terminator, and they're versions of superheroes, Caesar's an ape. And Marty's human. Marty is the most relatable character by far of any of these listed. I grew up on those movies. Those are my favorite movies. I think he is the best character in cinematic history. I think Back to the Future is the best movie in cinematic history. I will defend both those points to my dying day. But it kind of goes back to what we were talking about with Caesar earlier. Marty is human. He makes mistakes, and he makes up for them. And he's funny, and things that happen to him are funny. And he gets put in those wacky situations that feel like sitcom style, like going back and coming face to face with your future self. And the whole point of movies is to escape into movies, and it doesn't matter when those movies are on. Marty's a character that I just engulf myself into, and I just get lost and I go into it. And it's not necessarily as heavy as some of the other films. So, I mean, the guy can time travel. you get to see him in all these different eras, all these different styles. And on the flip side, the one point that I haven't seen anyone make about Doc Brown, as he has been slandered by certain people in this group, is the Telltale game really really fills out Emmett Brown's story. Unfortunately, the Telltale games, I'm not a big gamer, and the gaming system of that isn't great. But the storyline basically is a Back to the Future 4, and you get a lot more of an Emmett Brown in that. It fleshes out the character way more. So when you look at those two characters, especially how they compare together, I could never see me putting anyone over either of those two.
Well, characters for me like Neo and Marty are characters that need a lot of help. And while that feels, more grounded and relatable, I think what makes the other characters kind of badass, like Ripley and Caesar, are because they do all the amazing shit they do without that help. They kind of do it on their own and have to kind of stand their own ground.
And they learn it on their own, too.
Yeah. So I think that's why I put those characters a little bit higher than characters like Neo and Marty.
I also had Doc at 2, and one thing that I didn't think I would hear today was the Telltale games, because I have no idea what that is. Adam, do you know what that is? And you also had Marty. Why do you have Marty at number 1?
I have so many thoughts. Yeah. So yes, I have played the Telltale game. I played it on PS3. That tells you how long ago it came out. But it's a bare bones game. It's more of a like a choose an adventure game, like where you're reacting to dialogue choices and whatnot.
It's the same people who did the Walking Dead games.
Yeah, and honestly, it follows that mold, but on a more basic level. It was kind of a precursor to those, and it does extend the legacy of those characters in a really cool way. So Back to the Future, I agree with everyone's criticisms of Marty as a character. He's deeply flawed. If I were going into battle, there's no way I would enlist Marty over Ellen Ripley.
Or T-800.
Well, I mean, come on, that's
or the cheat code apparently.
That's why this list.
Cheat code.
That's why these characters stacked up against each other is so bizarre, because it's really hard to quantify them against one another in so many ways. So the reason why I have Marty ranked as high as I do is distinctly because he's flawed, and because he is played by one of the most likable actors in history at the peak of his powers. And I think what's really special about Marty is he is a bit of a snot. He is a bit of an entitled, upper middle class brat. But despite all that, Michael J. Fox makes him relatable. And what I love about the sequels specifically is that, Marty repeats a lot of his same behavior, but in the process, we see how unavoidable all of this is at the end of the day. This was all really fated to happen, at least within the context of these stories. And I think that Marty is such an interesting conduit for that kind of arc, because it is thrust upon him. He is so imperfect. He is shallow in so many ways, but he's fun and he's likable, and he figures things out. And he's willing to put his life on the line at the end of the day to save his best friend, Doc Brown. And the reason why I have Doc Brown at 5 is out of protest, Amaru. It is me making a statement saying, you will not force me to split my vote. Okay? So I took Doc Brown out of the equation, and it hurt me, but I took him out of the equation because I wasn't going to be, I'm not going to let Back to the Future take up half of my top 4. I can't. So I had to choose one of them. And it was tough because you could make arguments for either. I love Doc Brown. I love Christopher Lloyd's performance. But it's ultimately Marty's story. The third movie is a little bit more about Doc Brown's legacy, which I appreciate, but it's still ultimately Marty's story. And because he is, I forgive the phrasing, he's a little bit of a bitch. He is. I get it. Like, he's complains and he whinges nonstop throughout the trilogy, but because it's Michael J. Fox, he makes it so digestible. And I think what's also special about Back to the Future is it's the one franchise that even though there is interest in revisiting it in some way, and we got the video game, it doesn't have the requels, the reboots, the shitty sequels. It doesn't have any of that.
To the ground.
It's intact. For the time being, it's intact. And I'm not if you have a good story, I'm never going to say no to a new movie in any franchise. I'm not that guy. But I do think it is special that Back to the Future has organically avoided that fate. And I think it has a lot to do with that it's lightning in a bottle with Christopher Lloyd and Michael J. Fox. And the fact that it is this geeky story that is really a fable. It's not a literal depiction of events, because the science of time travel doesn't line up at all. But it makes us talk about it, and it makes us examine how actual time travel would work. And everyone refers back to it constantly. And that's for good reason. I think that's because of Marty McFly. I love that guy, even though he's a little bit of a shit.
He's a big shit, yeah.
And you know what? It is completely unrelated, but Teen Wolf came out the same year, and he made that movie way better than it should have been.
Yep,
and
that's true.
That's saying something.
I think he's got a little bit of that when you call him a bitch. I think he's got a little bit of that Luke Skywalker energy.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. That's a good point.
And it's the same thing. A beloved character.
Mm-hmm.
Flawed, but if you look at it,
my boy Luke, a little bitch. Get out of here, guys.
Especially in
a little
the
bit
first
of a
one,
whiny
he's,
bitch.
First
he's a
one.
wimp. He's a whiner. He's still great, but and it makes him very human. He's my personal favorite Star Wars character. But yeah, the similarities of that, I think there's a relatability that you have with these characters that you don't quite get with Ripley and Caesar.
I think you do get with Ripley, though. I mean, I think Ripley's probably the most relatable character, because everyone has been, whether you're a man or a woman, not listened to or not taken seriously. These are more adult themed, but like I think and then like if on a single parent household level, Ripley, and then you look at the relationship with Newt and everything with that. And so there's like, at least for me, like when you see your mother, or in this case Ripley, be staunchly defensive, like that's relatable to me, and I think maybe relatable to a lot of people out there that have a single parent, home. So I know it's a bit like out there, but I think overall, overall. Plus, I mean, like, she wore like a metal suit
that they copied in the Matrix Revolution.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
100%. So Frankie Numbers has made it official. If you didn't pick Ripley, you are against single mothers.
And I have Neo at number one.
That's fair.
I have Neo at number one.
No, this dude
Neo
is
at
Neo.
number one. That's what you do.
Frank likes anagrams. That's all.
With
he
that,
hates single mothers, and he likes anagrams.
He does. With that, I'm going to pose
about the cheat
to
code.
each of you a question as you think about how you want to wrap this up. I like to wrap these up by throwing this little nugget out here. As there are a bunch of sci-fi characters, if there was one sci-fi character who you would throw on this list that would shake up your list, not necessarily be number one, just would shake it up in some way, shape, or form, what sci-fi character would you throw in there? And for everybody watching, this is the third episode I've done of One Gotta Stay on the Bitesize Breakdown channel. So if you haven't, please hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, share this. We got plenty of rounds left in this tournament to go. So as they think upon that, just to recap, me and Janine were the only smart ones here. We love single mothers. We chose Ripley. Paige wants to date a cyborg, so she kept the T-800. Frankie Numbers.
He was my number two, Paige. He was my number two, and I didn't get to speak to why, but I'm telling you, he's my number two.
Adam, you get to do that in a second. Don't worry about that. Frankie likes to cheat, so Neo was his pick.
He can fly. He can fly.
He can fly. And Adam and Nick.
Fly's really cool.
Adam and Nick actually had some very intelligent things to say about apparently the little bitch Marty McFly.
He's our little bitch,
Marty McBitch. That's right.
At least you guys claim him. That's all that matters.
Special.
He will be Marty McBitch in my heart for the rest of time. He will be ours. But if Adam, if you're ready, wrap up how you feel about this list, the characters on it, and if you had one sci-fi character that would just throw this list into disarray one way or another, who would it be?
All right, so real quick, T-800, my guy. Schwarzenegger was a force to be reckoned with in the 80s. The Terminator was a villain that we didn't know we needed, and then for him to have that turn as a hero in the sequel is obviously iconic. But I think that it's really easy to dogpile on the 4 sequels. But I think what's really important to recognize, if it weren't for Schwarzenegger's very specific performance as that character, we wouldn't have this ongoing obsession with this franchise, for better or worse. And I still think Sarah Connor Chronicles is the best Terminator 3 we've ever gotten.
I love Sarah Connor Chronicles.
Sarah Connor Chronicles is effectively the third Terminator film, as are all the sequels. If you really think about it, they're all the third Terminator. Think piece incoming in a couple weeks. But honestly, I love the T-800 because he is so simple and because he means more than one thing across all the movies. And I think Terminator 3 is underrated. My character I would throw in to shake up this list, and you're probably all going to just disagree with me, maybe not, is HAL 9000 from 2001: A Space Odyssey.
Ooh.
Yeah, I think HAL is misunderstood, and I think he was doing the best he could.
I was thinking the monkeys.
Just open the pod bay doors, Hal. That's all you had to do.
He didn't do anything that we didn't have coming towards ourselves. Okay.
I mean, that's well, damn it.
All right, but this ain't a Kubrick episode. I'm sorry.
Frankie, why? Give us your final thoughts on the list. Why you had Neo at number 1, the overall list itself, and your one character who would shake up.
Really, so Neo at number 1 is kind of somewhat to be contrarian, because I really felt like Ripley was going to just run the table. That's why she is at number 2. But also, and then I could just fall on the fact that Neo can fly. Like what are you gonna say? He can fly.
Peter Pan can fly. Would you?
Yeah, well, he ain't on the list, Janine. And he needs magic dust or whatever. And so
happy thoughts.
And so I think actually, when Adam just brought up the Sarah Connor, I think the character that would shake up this list would be Sarah Connor. I mean, because you look at Sarah Connor and Ripley. I mean, at that time, when those movies came out, it was like those were the 2 baddest bitches you could find that would kick your ass, right? So I
still are.
I think, yeah, for a large part, everyone's tried to, I think, build a character, or inspired from those characters. But I also thought initially I would throw Obi-Wan Kenobi on this list.
Okay.
Yeah.
He got saved. He went through in the Star Wars episode, so he's still in the running for the best geek character in this entire bracket. We'll move down to Janine. Final thoughts on the list on Ripley, and if there's a character you would throw in to throw things in disarray, who would it be?
Definitely a solid list. Love all these characters, despite what I've said. But yeah, Ripley, great representation for women, badass character. Just kind of her figuring things out on her own. Really, kind of just holding to the first 2 movies more than anything else is kind of what got me. I'm a horror fan, so kind of getting this version of a final girl in space was just kind of a cool thing to see. So definitely my favorite. I am actually deep into a sci-fi franchise on my podcast, so I would pick Spock, because we are talking about Star Trek.
Spock,
solid choice.
That's solid choice.
I would throw Spock in there.
That's a good one.
Star Trek right now.
Damn, Spock.
We get
and he's one of the most. Yeah, I was just gonna say he's one of the best characters across all the movies too. Yeah. Who really holds up in the movies too.
100%.
We'll get to see in about a month or so how Spock does up against the other Star Trek characters in our Star Trek episode. If anybody's interested, feel free to hit me up. I definitely would love to have any of you all on again. Paige, what about you? Final thoughts on the list? Why you like Arnold so much, and what character you would have thrown in this list to throw it into disarray?
Because you know what? He'd always say, "I'll be back," and he was. He didn't break that promise, and that means a
Talk to the
lot.
hand. Talk to
Keep
the hand.
coming back.
It means a lot. I mean, a lot of people like hit on, especially like Adam too, like with the T-800, like the character arc within that. Like in the first film, it was like a horror film, and he was the villain, and the fact that the growth within the character throughout kind of all of the films is pretty remarkable. That he becomes like really, especially in like the second one, like he is like the gatekeeper. He's keeping them safe and stuff like that. So for me, I don't know. I always love that character. So fascinating to me. Robots, badass. Do I want one? No. But you know what I do want, and I wish was on this list, was an ET. Because be good, guys. Be good.
I have some weird stories that my brother used to tell about ET, but that's for another day. Nick, my brother is a weirdo. I love him to death. Just yeah. Bring us home, sir. Your final thoughts. You took down the Back to the Future poster behind you earlier. I was going to ask you to post it, and I realized.
I still have the picture with Michael J. Fox, though.
Lovely.
So.
Nice.
Lovely.
We're still rocking that.
Final thoughts on the list. Your number one, and a character you would choose to throw this list into whack. Well,
first of all, big thumbs up to anyone who has single mothers.
Disclaimer on that one. Disclaimer.
This was not intended as a referendum on single mothers.
Not a knock. All 6 of these choices were great. The ranking went pretty much the way I thought it was going to go as to which 6 were going to make the final list. So everyone here was deserving in that sense by far. The person I would add on is a late addition to the list that I'm actually curious if we'd have had him earlier in the posting, was Peter Venkman from Ghostbusters. Because I do, as you guys can see, I do side with the human aspect of characters and the comedy and the relatability and stuff like that. And I think he's the one who makes those movies thrive. I know Egon would be another person that everyone would mention, but for me, Peter's my guy. So that would be my name. I throw it out there.
Yeah, that was on me. I had Ghostbusters in my head, and then I was like, oops, I forgot. You told me about it. I was like, man, well, we'll see how that works out. But for me, yeah, this list was great. As much as I threw some shit at everybody, I love all these characters. Again, Ripley was always my number one, though. She just from front to back, just human character, badass character, motherly, but can whoop your ass and set you straight. I love her to death. For me, I would say I was very surprised Sarah Connor did not make the list. I thought it was going to be like a 1-2 punch, and then I saw nobody was voting for it, so that was really weird. But for me, I was watching an episode of Blackish maybe about an hour ago, and my wife said, because they had jackets and shades on, why do they look like Morpheus? I'm like, because that's Lawrence Fishburne, and he is Morpheus. Because Morpheus is that dude. Morpheus would give Ripley a run for her money. I think Morpheus is an amazing character, not just Lawrence Fishburne's performance, but just in general, just that character, the belief, the belief in somebody else. It's not me, it's somebody else I'm putting my full force into. I love his character, and I think Morpheus is hella dope. With that,
Amaru, I got something to say to that.
Yes, sir.
Machines.
For 1,000 years.
I love his cave speech. I think I dig it. I don't care how. And his projection is impeccable in that scene.
It's really
the years part. It always kills me.
Another leader I would follow into caves or wherever else he is going.
His apocalypse vest.
Oh man, so much. Yeah. But with that, we're gonna get into who actually is moving on into the tournament. So for the van vote, number one kept was Ripley. Doc and Marty were right behind them. And the way this is being decided is if you get a number one vote with the fan vote and us 6, you get 5 points. Number 2 is 3, and a third place vote gets you 1. So the 2 with the top scores are moving on. So with that, as we go down the line, we have Caesar, with 4, because a lot of us had him in third place. The T-800 has a strong 11. Strong 11 with those 2 second place votes. Neo got the 1 solo 5.
That's right.
1 solo 5.
You tell him, Frank.
No, I'm trying.
Ripley is killing it.
All right,
with
Jesus.
22 points, 3 first place votes, 2 second place votes, and 1 third. Marty also has 11 with those 2 stage votes from Adam and from Nick keeping him alive. So with that, is Doc Brown going to take it, or do we have a tie for second? We have a tie for second. Doc Brown barely missing out. So because of that, we're going to go to the fourths, and whoever has more fourth place votes goes through. And if you were paying attention, Marty has 2, and the T-800 only has 1. So with that, we have going through to the second round, Ellen Ripley and Marty McFly with a very, very, very close
sorry, Caesar.
for second place, with Ripley killing it, but Marty taking it at the very, very end. I'd like to thank my panel for coming on. Always a good time. But as always, before we get out of here, the riddle for the next matchup in One Gotta Stay's One Geek Tournament. And the March Madness tournament is over, but we're going to continue on through with the most classical first day of school ever. And my question to you is, for your first day of school, what were your fits looking like? Were you a hip-hop head, so you were like Cameron, decked out in all pink, fully equipped with the pink umbrella? Or were you more of an 80s metal head, really big, frizzy hair? Or were you the head in the clouds type, rocking to Elton John, full-on, multicolored sunglasses? Or were you the emo kid with the bangs swishing back and forth across your head in 394 different ways? Or were sports more your thing? So you had the black and white stripes, Yankee style, across your chest. Or did none of that ever matter to you because you were too worried every day that your glasses would break over and over and over again? That's the riddle for next episode. If you think you know what the list is for next time, hit us up in the comment section below. Don't forget to subscribe, like, for Frankie Numbers, for Paige, the Boston Badass, the newly anointed boss, Nick, Janine the Machine, and the Coyote, Adam Collins. We are out of here.
What you just said is one of the most insanely idiotic things I have ever heard. At no point in your rambling, incoherent response were you even close to anything that could be considered a rational thought. Everyone in this room is now dumber for having listened to it. I award you no points, and may God have mercy on your soul.